What's good, y'all? Elvis here. Back again with another episode of Game Big Homie Told Me. Talking to women, communicating with women is a delicate art. Even when it's just information gotta get across. And I've realized the biggest mistake I've ever made when it comes to interacting with women, whether it's my sister, my aunt, a girl I'm interested in whatever context, is telling women my problems. Because women hear your panic, not the problem. I'm not saying keep women in the dark about what's going on in your life. I'm saying if it's a woman who is relevant to know something, come to her when you are on the path of a solution, not when you're panicking with a problem. Anytime I ever told a woman I was in the middle of something I didn't know what to do, like most of the time she didn't react to the problem, she reacted to my uncertainty about the situation. And that's the thing that makes women uncomfortable and feel unsafe in a situation. Women will feel how you feel. If you confident in yourself, women will feel confident as a result of being around you and getting your energy. If you somebody who doesn't know what they're gonna do, that anxiety is just gonna leak over to her. She's gonna feel how you feel. So if you're coming in with a solution-oriented perspective, she kind of has no choice but to relax in understanding that, oh, he got a plan in motion and he probably got it. It doesn't matter if you got it or not. It matters if you have the energy of continually trying to solve a problem and making it better, because that's what puts people at ease, women and children, even other men. Because most people will have a whole bystander effect going on. Like, they'll expect somebody else to handle it. Just on some masculinity shit. If you are not taking active control of a situation that affects you, you are basically submitting to somebody else's control. It's also why they say never get beat up in front of your girl. Because it's not that she'll necessarily respect you less, but in her body, she can't relax and feel like you have it from that point on. Regardless of her intentions with you, women want masculine containment. Masculine containment is basically the covering a man provides by handling the shit. It's what allows women to be free and be chaotic in their little safe bubble. If they don't find masculine containment from a man, they have to create it for themselves. And that's what makes women kind of masculinized. And it works for protection, but it doesn't allow their feminine superpowers to blossom in that kind of environment. I used to be kind of annoyed when, like, I was around girls and their brain would turn off, just la-di-da-di-da. I'm checking entrances and exits to make sure whatever threat, I can circumvent it or I can neutralize it. Like, my mind is always thinking like that. And the girls I be around be very la-di-da-di-da. Like, they don't pay attention to shit. And that used to really get on my nerves. But I also realized, while on one end, it's kind of a liability depending on how unaware and ditzy she wants to get, it's also kind of a flex from a masculine perspective, because I realized that women get goofier the more comfortable and safe they feel. I wasn't intentionally making this comparison, but it's kind of similar to how, like, kids that are in a safe environment really just let their weird shit out. I realized that somebody that is really well behaved is somebody that's just really obedient. And that's not somebody who is even like obedient to the voice that's leading them internally. That's somebody that's obedient to outside perspectives. And that's not somebody who's comfortable in themselves or even feels safe in themselves. So the weirder a girl acts around me, the safer she feels. But also, I'm realizing not every woman deserves my provision and protection. If they're in my vicinity and I consider them part of my boundary, I'm going to go out my way. Like, a woman coming into my life to bring more problems and solutions is an op for me. You're somebody who might have good feelings associated with me, but you're not somebody considering my well-being. And I'm somebody considering your well-being. So I already know that this is somewhat of a one-sided relationship. And most of my relationships in life, romantically, platonically, professionally, have been like that. But I also have to take accountability for, I created that environment outside of myself because that's how I felt internally. You know what I'm saying? It's not my fault that the world and my family and friends, old friends, put that stuff on me. It's not my fault that I got hurt, but it's my responsibility to heal and to move in a way that's more conducive to healing around me. I might be able to blame somebody for the first wave of attacks I had in my life, but after that, I started to internalize that for myself and started attacking myself. I wouldn't allow myself to lean into my own gifts, to trust my own judgment. And I used to attribute that to those people still. But people have the power that I give them. People will lead where you allow. Leading somebody else that doesn't believe in themselves is the easy part, because they're just looking for a voice to follow. It doesn't even have to lead them to exactly where they want to go. But leading yourself is a whole nother thing, because you and God gotta get on one accord about the direction. Because if y'all don't agree, it's quote unquote self-sabotage. Like, you're trying to get this done, but there's all this resistance from this side. But I've also realized that there's no such thing as self-sabotage. It's just competing needs. There's a part of me that gets something from resting, you know what I'm saying? But there's also a part of me that gets a lot from working, and not just working like to, oh, I'm productive, I got some stuff done. I'm talking about grinding, crawling into your work, hiding from the world in your work. And I realize that's one of my vices, you know what I'm saying? My 3 vices: women, weed, and work. And I realize every time I get into a season where I'm misaligned and I want some kind of comfort, that's the first thing I get pulled by. Like, panic is a part of the process. If you don't sort out your own feelings, you're just gonna stuff them back. And then when somebody talks to you and asks you questions that lean into it, it's gonna come all tumbling down. So you gotta process it before anything. It's also important to understand that not all problems are for you to solve. I've had some problems where literally my role was to sit with this discomfort until it passes. There was a lot of problems that I could not solve for myself, only God could solve. And I had to allow him to solve it instead of trying to touch it and put my hands in it and move it along in the way that I saw fit. Because every trial that God put me through, every emotion that I've had to hold was teaching me something that I needed further along the journey. So now I'm in a place where I can't take for granted the gloomy days because I want it to be sunny. The gloomy days have their own beauty. Like my little sister says, cloudy days are like a bright nighttime. And like, I love that perspective shift. We only see beauty in the contrast. So if I didn't have problems, I wouldn't appreciate solutions. If I didn't have panic, I wouldn't appreciate calmness. And I realized that regardless of what I'm going through, God's speaking to me through it all. But that's all I got for today. I appreciate y'all watching. I got ebooks, courses, and consultations. Check out the link below. If you haven't already followed me, check me out on Instagram at Cuz My Elvis at Better Barbering. But I appreciate y'all. Till next time, craft over clout. I'm out. That's crazy.